First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Rakah, Kadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of great millstones. Peace, mercy, and blessings unto the hopeful elect, the Israelites of the Bible, the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And I'm on CBS News of what happened yesterday in New York. It says right here, it captions FBI launches terrorist investigation after a homemade explosive device ignited outside of New York City's Mayor Mandanini residence. I'm going to play the video.
Story as a far-right anti-Muslim group clashes with counter-protesters near Gracie Mansion, and the discovery of two suspicious devices brought in the bomb squad and sent people running in the streets. NYPD confirming Mayor Mamdani and his wife were at home at the time. Andrew Ramos is on the east side with details on the mayhem that resulted in 6 arrests.
Dueling protests spiral out of control on the east side on Saturday morning.
The violent left!
Far-right influencer and pardoned January 6 rioter Jake Lang, a known agitator, organized a demonstration called Stop the Islamic Takeover of New York City, seemingly targeting Mayor Mamdani. As it got underway just after 11 a.m., a block from Gracie Mansion, police say his group of 20 was met with a counter-protest of 125 people. And that's when things got tense. NYPD, already on the scene, separated the groups, but things quickly unraveled. Cops say a member of Jake Lang's group unleashed pepper spray on counter-protesters. Video captures the chaos that ensued as many attempted to restrain the man. Things took a terrifying turn when police say a counter-protester was seen lighting and throwing a device toward the protest area, but it quickly burnt out. This photo, shared by Commissioner Tish on X, shows the man who cops identified as 18-year-old Emir Balat fleeing as police run toward the device.
Mr. Balat then ran southbound and gets a second device,
receiving that device from an apparent accomplice, identified as 19-year-old Ibrahim Nick. Balat drops the device but is quickly detained. Video shows the moment NYPD officers moved in. Nick also arrested.
The devices, which were a bit smaller than a football, appear to be a jar wrapped in black tape, importantly with nuts, bolts, and screws.
For several hours, police locked down the area, bringing in the bomb squad, conducting sweeps for other possible devices. In the end, a total of 6 people were arrested, including the 2 men in possession of the devices, the person who used pepper spray on the crowd, and 3 others for disorderly conduct. As of tonight, charges are pending as the investigation into the incident continues. Now, Mayor Mamdani's press secretary released a statement.
Yeah, so it's the book of Revelation chapter 1, verse 3. It says, blessed is he that readeth. So those that read the words of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, you're blessed. Not only are you blessed because you're reading his word, but because you believe in it and they're faithful and true. And you understand the mysteries of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. Again, Revelation chapter 1, verse 3. Blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of this prophecy. And these are prophecies are popping up right in front of us. We see what's going on right now at the Middle East with Iran and, the Israelis and United States. Rumors of wars, kingdom against kingdom, racing against each other. Prophecies popping up right in front of us. Revelation chapter 1, verse 3. Blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand. And we go to the book of 2nd Esdras. And what that time is, well, it's the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 9, verse 1. It reads, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently. And this is what Esdras was speaking. Well, the Heavenly Father, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, and he also sent his angel Uriel. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. And when thou see parts of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highs will begin to visit the world which he made. And what are the signs? Well, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes, so there's been earthquakes around the world recently also, and uproars of the people in the world. And this is an uproar, what's going on right now in New York City. And you can see how those uproars of people that are U.S. citizens, they're not liking all the Islamic stuff that's going on in New York City. And I think the mayor, he's a Muslim person, and he's pushing a lot of Islamic stuff over there. Like there's doing temples. I think no, not temples, but they're doing their prayers in the morning. I haven't been seeing videos lately of Muslim people being in the streets doing their prayers, being quiet, putting their music on. And people of United States are not liking that. We go to Second Ezra chapter 15 also, because it also shows what they did. They were trying to throw a bomb at the mayor's house. It says right here, Second Ezra chapter 15, verse 1, behold, speak thou in the ears of my people, and the people of the Heavenly Father are the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, said the Adonai house. And we're speaking the words of the Heavenly Father. And these are prophecies, and it's happening right in front of us. And cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. They're faithful and true, and we're seeing it. If we jump to verse 14, it says right here, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and the destruction draw nigh, and one people should stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. And we know the United States, they got their Second Amendment. Everybody owns, they bear arms. They own guns, and the modern sword is the gun. Verse 16, for there shall be seditions among men, invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions should stand in their power. So right now, yesterday, what happened in New York City, you had an 18-year-old kid and so a 19-year-old kid that they tried to throw a bomb, a handmade bomb, at the mayor's house. That's sedition amongst men, invading the kings, not regarding the kings or the princes, and those are the governors, the governments. So people are like, they did that yesterday. And because of that, that's going to create martial law. And like it says right here in verse 17, a man should decide to go in the city and shall not be able, because of what's going on. Also, we go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 19. It says right here, the burden of Egypt. Behold, the idol one Yahweh rideth upon a swift cloud, and they should come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at the presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. And we know Egypt, it represents the house of bondage, and we know that the United States is a house of bondage. I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight every one against his brother, and every one against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. You see people are fighting in that video. The protests, they were fighting against each other. People were spraying other people. You can also see Esau Edom, so-called white man, spraying pepper spraying other white people. So the Heavenly Father, how by Shem Yashai, is stirring up the spirits in the people. Because he's visiting the world that he created. Also in the book of Matthew, even Yahushua said it himself, that his kingdom cannot stand if they're against each other. It's the book of Matthew, chapter 12, verse 25. And Yahushua knew their thoughts and said unto them, and this is when we go to verse 24, it says, but when the Pharisees heard it, they said, this fellow do cast out devils, but by Beelzebub, the prince of the devils. And Yahushua knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom dividing against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. And if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? So we know that the kingdom of the United States of Esau Edom is falling, because they're not standing with each other. They're fighting against each other. So we're blessed when we read this, when we read the words of the Heavenly Father, how by Shem Yoshai, because we're occupied in prophecy, and we see that prophecies happening right in front of us, because you just had the blood moon going on, and then from there you also had the war that's going on with Iran and the Israeli United States. A lot of stuff is going around the world. So these are the words of prophecy. Even in the book of Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach, chapter 39, says right here, verse 1, but he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High and is occupied in the meditation thereof will seek out the wisdom of all the ancients and be occupied in prophecies. And that's what we're doing. We're reading the words of the Heavenly Father, how by Shem Yahushai, and we're seeing these prophecies are popping up, just like it happened in the ancient times, in the ancient kingdoms. Now we're seeing it, that's happening right in front of us right now. He will keep the sayings of the reowned man where subtle perils are, and he will be there also. He will seek out the secrets of grave sentences and be conversant in dark parables. And for us to get that with the Heavenly Father, how Bashim Yahushua has to give you that, the knowledge, wisdom, understanding. And it starts with having fear with him. Fear in the Heavenly Father, how Bashim Yahushua, like it says in the book of Proverbs, chapter 1. Verse 2 says, to know wisdom and instructions, to perceive the words of understanding, to receive the instructions of wisdom, justice, and judgment, and equity, to give subtlety to the simple, and to the young man knowledge and discretion. A wise man will hear and will increase learning. So those that were blessed to hear this word, we increase our learning by reading the words of the Heavenly Father and being occupied in prophecy and reading what's in the word of the Heavenly Father, and then putting it together with what's going around the world and connecting it together. A wise man will hear and will increase learning, and a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsel, to understand their proverb and their interpretation, the words of the wise and their dark saying. The fear of the Adonai Yahweh is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. So for us to get this knowledge, wisdom, understanding, it starts with us, one, having faith, believing, and also fearing the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. And also being in the spirit of prophecy, which is like Yahweh Shai, because even in the book of Revelations, the last book, Revelation chapter 19, verse 10, it says right here, and this was John. This is when he saw an angel. And I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, see thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahweh Shai. Worship Yahweh. For the testimony of Yahweh Shai is the spirit of prophecy. So that's what we're doing right now. Those that were blessed with this knowledge, wisdom, understanding. We're prophesying what's going around the world. Just because that's the job of a prophet. Just like it says in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 28. Verse 8, the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms, of war and of evil and of pestilence. So that's what a prophet does, and that's what his job is. His job is to prophesy the good, the bad, and the ugly, because that's who the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, reveals his secret to, like it says in the book of Amos, chapter 3, verse 7. Surely the Adonai Yahweh will do nothing, but he revealed his secrets unto his servants, the prophets. So the servants of the Heavenly Father are the prophets, and the prophets are going to be prophesying. And with that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kadash, Shalom.